Tonight, we are victorious. That is right. The Portland Trailblazers welcome the Nets to town, and they send them out with a monster victory, a lopsided one, as the Trailblazers absolutely take care of business en route to a 134-99 victory over the visiting Brooklyn Nets. Welcome into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you. If you would like to join the conversation with us tonight, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can hit us up on the text line, 88528. And, of course, go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, where we first get a comment there from a man, Sean. Good win. Love the dub, but could have been a little cleaner. I don't know what you're talking about, Sean. Okay, I get they turn the ball over. That's what they do, but I'm not complaining about a 35-point victory like that. I like that. I'm just glad I got to meet you face-to-face, not just YouTube to host, and I got to see the guy who's going to owe me lunch because the Blazers are going to finish above 500 the rest of the way. Knock on wood. Robert says there was a ton of fouls in this, made it unwatchable at points. And Robert, I commented on that on social as well. I thought the calls were egregious. Like, it was so ticky-tack, so soft. Both sides. Like, the fouls that they were calling, like, were they fouls? You're like, yes, but also, like, was it, like, his fingernail that touched him? Yes. Like, it was, like, you could have just let the foul go. But there was a couple times in this game where it was Blazers had the ball on offense, foul called. Then next possession, the Nets had the ball on offense, and it was a foul called. Then it went back to the Blazers, and it was a foul call. And you're right, it was pretty bad. There was 42 free throw attempts in the first half of this game. That's pretty nasty work. In the end of the night, it's just an overall, like, just, again, it just makes you just scratch your head a little bit, going, what in the heck is going on? Portland ended up with 40 free throws by themselves, 29 for the Nets in this one. It was a free throw bonanza at points. Now, the game here was overall just great. I thought it started just a tiny bit slow. The Blazers definitely did struggle out of the gate. It felt weird. The Nets had an early lead. You're like, oh my gosh, what's up? Why is it 4-zip Brooklyn? I don't like this at all. First time out, it's 11-8, but then the game changed from there. How did it all happen? Let's break it down. It's time for the Rip City Recap. Well, the game started when they all decided to lock in. They absolutely locked in. The Blazers, they had the 4 turnovers early. They were shooting 37%. I mean, the scoreboard ended up breaking in that first quarter. Well, I mean, honestly, the video replay board and all the boards on the side, they just turned off. Wasn't working. Nothing felt right to start. But then the Blazers kicked it into high gear. They figured it out. They ended up grabbing the lead. They pushed it out to 25-18. By the time that Brooklyn called their next time out, they were up 35-30 after one. Now, at this point, both teams were shooting 55% from the field. In the second, the Blazers outscored the Nets 34-21. The Blazers shot 52%. Meanwhile, defense locked in, and the Nets offense absolutely struggled. They shot 26% in the second half. The Blazers were up 69-51 despite the 12 turnovers in the first half. And like I said, they combined for 42 free throws. It was a bit of a muddy game. However, in that first half, it was all about the man of the night, who we will talk about plenty, and you guys will comment about plenty, because Toumani Camara was on fire. He ended the first half with 23 points. He was 6 of 6 from the field, 5 of 5 from beyond the arc. He was 6 of 7 from the free throw line. And a nice little stat here sent out by the Trailblazers PR staff is that Toumani Camara became the second player in the last 20 years with 20 plus points on 100% shooting in a single half since Rudy Fernandez in 2011. Think about that for a minute. I did not expect that we would have the fifth quarter and get through a Blazer game and have a Rudy Fernandez reference that is actually topical. It wasn't just us be like, yeah, you know who I really miss? Rudy Fernandez. Because he was before his time. Prime Rudy Fernandez in this day and age of the NBA would be great. I'm only mocking myself because I've said that plenty of times, but it was just pretty darn cool to be in that category there. And again, he was absolutely on fire. He continued it in the second half when the Blazers offense, again, it just kept rolling. They outscored the Nets 28-22. Both teams did struggle to shoot the ball a little bit. It was 38% from both of them in that quarter. But the Blazers were buoyed by the fact that they went 5 of 11 from beyond the arc. And then in the fourth quarter, Toumani Camara hits a corner three, and that set his new career high of 32 points. He ended up missing his very next shot, which was his first miss of the night. He eventually ended the night with a career high 9 3-pointers and a career high 35 points. Toumani Camara's 9 of 11 3-point shooting performance marks the most made 3-pointers by a Trailblazer player since February 26th of 2023 when Damian Lillard did it. Woo! And it's the best 3-point percentage with at least 10 3-pointers since April 27th of 2021. Anthony Simons. So some elite company for Toumani Camara. I also noted that it should not be glossed over that it was Toumani Camara Glass Night, and on Toumani Camara Glass Night, Toumani Camara set his career high for 3-pointers, and on Toumani Camara Glass Night, Toumani Camara set his career high for points in a game, and on Toumani Camara Glass Night, Toumani Camara subbed out of the game when the Blazers had a 33-point lead. Think about that. Number 33 had a career night and subbed out with the team he plays for having a 33-point lead. I like little numbers connections like that. Shout out to Toumani Camara. An amazing night. Taking a look at the individual box scores on this one. We will start on the Brooklyn side of things. Zaire Williams had 16 points. Josh Minot had 15 points, 10 points from Nick Claxton and a technical foul, 11 points from Jalen Wilson. Chaney Johnson had 12 points, and Tyson Etienne had 8. On the Blazers side of things, Toumani Camara, like we said, 35 points the end of the night, 10 of 12 from the field. He also had 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. Sidi Sissoko, starting for the injured Jeremy Grant, he had 5 points. Donovan Clingan. Now, we can talk about Toumani Camara all night long, and we should. He had an absolutely incredible night. But Donovan Clingan, he had 7 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 blocked shots, a season high in blocked shots, and just 1 away from tying his career high of 8. So a great night from DC. Drew Holiday had 11 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 18 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists from Denny Avdia. Chris Murray chipped in 16 points to lead all scorers off of the bench. Matisse Thybulle had 10 points, and Scoot Henderson had 13 points, and I thought his game was incredible, and I asked Coach about it post-game, and you'll hear that here in just a little bit, but he only had 13 points, but he had a season-high 28 in the plus-minus category. And in the first half, he ended the first half with a single point. He had 1 point. He was 0 of 4 from the field, 0 of 2 from beyond the arc, 1 of 2 from the free throw line, but he had a team-high 17 plus-minus. And again, plus-minus is not the end-all, be-all indicator of how you are playing, but it is an indicator of how the unit has played when you're on the floor. And so he was finding ways to impact the game, and I like that from Scoot Henderson, because when you can find impact the game without completely filling up the box score, I think it means you're doing a lot of the little things right. So shout out to Scoot for having a good game. And Sean chimes back in the YouTube chat. Felt like so many of the turnovers tonight were on outlet passes. They weren't smart or strong passes. And again, there was, and that's where you're talking about wanting to clean some stuff up. The turnovers again, they were pretty sloppy. I think that you look at the eventual turnover numbers, this team ended the night with, oh my gosh, both teams, 24 turnovers for the Trailblazers, which is absolutely egregious. 22 turnovers for the Brooklyn Nets. And again, it just felt like so many of them were unforced turnovers. Now, you don't count the one at the end of the game that, yes, it goes in the box score as a turnover, but it was just a shot clock violation because they weren't going to take that final shot. But overall, like you said, just kind of lazy passes, and not a lot of them were forced turnovers. Like there was one, like I'm thinking about, like Matisse Thybulle gets a rebound, turns around, and kind of throws like almost like a loft pass, trying to get it over the defense to City Sissoko, but does not throw it far enough, and it's just an easy interception for the Brooklyn Nets defense. So little things like that definitely need to be cleared up. But on a night when you have 24 turnovers and you could still win a game by 35 points, it's a good night. Also, boy howdy, are the Brooklyn Nets bad. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can hit us up on the text line 88528. And, of course, you can go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and join the chat there as well. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to hit you with our drive of the night. And I'm just going to be frank with you. It definitely ain't a drive. It's going to be Toumani Camara. That's it. Because he was absolutely on fire. We're going to take a chance, listen to it, relive it, because it was amazing. Going to head to the coach's corner in a little bit, hear from head coach Tiago Splitter. Take a look around the NBA, see how the scores went down in every other arena. And, of course, as long as he remembers us, the boss man Chad Doing will join us here as well in the fifth quarter on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you. If you'd like to join the conversation with us talking about this amazing Blazers game tonight, all you got to do is hit us up on the telephones, 503-248-0620. You can also go to 88528, send us all your text, or go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and join the chat there. Now, I do laugh because one of our chatters said, our texter says, looks like I won't have to go on my hungry homer strike now that we qualified for the play-ins. Play-ins? We could talk about the play-ins? Hashtag Jim Mora. There's a Mora reference there, but then obviously hungry homer, which I get what you're laying down. I love my Simpsons references, but also with all the angst with relocation and all that stuff in the NBA and stuff going down. Obviously the sale with Tom Dundon should be finalized soon. Sean Hyken's actually in New York for the board meetings and going to get some information there. But you shouldn't make references to hungry homer, because the reason Homer goes on the hunger strike is because the Springfield Isotopes threatened to move to Albuquerque. Okay? You got to know the full episode all the way through before you just start throwing the references out like that. Also kind of funny that after that episode, Albuquerque leaned into it and they got a minor league baseball team, the Albuquerque Isotopes, which I love it. Simpsons references all the way. All right, what a night it was for the man of the hour, Toumani Camara, a career-high 35 points. He was in fuego from beyond the arc. Even though it wasn't full of dunks, it was a lot of three-pointers. I still think he deserves our drive of the night.
For three. Buries it. And the Blazers a 10-point advantage, 28-18. And now Holiday the other direction. Scoops it over to Camara around to the top of the key. Straightaway three-pointer is good. Camara's got 10 here in the first half, and it looks like he has found his shot after March had been very rough shooting the basketball. Here's Holiday into the corner for Camara for three, and that's good. 13 for Camara in the first half. That is a game high, and the Blazers now lead at 43-31.
Good to see Camara knocking down shots.
To Camara. Cut off, drives, fouled, and counts. So Camara gets the shot to go off the window. He's got 19. Sissoko gives it to Camara in the corner. Jab step, holds onto it. Jab step again, three-pointer, buries it. 23 and a half for Toumani Camara, and the Blazers have an 18-point lead, 69-51. As Toumani Camara has done a nice job here in this half. The Blazers with their largest lead. Camara three-pointer is good. He's got 26. 76-55. Bounce pass to Camara, raises for three, buries it. 29 for Toumani Camara. He has made his first 8 shots tonight, which is the longest stretch to start a game this season for the Blazers. Murray into the lane, turns and kicks it back to Camara for three. Yes, sir! A new career high, 32 points for Toumani Camara. Now he starts his dribble. There's a three. There's a make. 35 as Toumani Camara, a career high, 9 3-pointers made tonight. 106-73.
And there you hear the drive of the night, brought to you by McCord's Vancouver Toyota, where they live by the slogan, we make it easy. Check out their inventory right now at vancouvertoyota.com. And they make it easy, and so does Toumani Camara. He was absolutely on fire tonight. Like I said, for those of you just tuning in, it was a pretty good night. Career high 35 points, the career high 9 made three-pointers, and as the Trailblazers let us know, Camara is just the second Trailblazer player in the last 20 seasons to score 20-plus points on 100% shooting from the field in a single half since Rudy Fernandez on February 11th, 2011. That's wild. That's wild. Shout out to Toumani Camara on Toumani Camara last night, having an absolutely wonderful night. Except he didn't do it with twos. He did it with threes. 2 from 3 and a career night. And like I said, also the numbers, the mathematics, the matchup. I love when you can look at it and realize that a guy who wears number 33 subbed out of the game with a career high when the team was up 33. The only thing that would have made it better is if he had 33 points instead of 35. But I will accept that it happened. All right, if you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number where we head out right now to Tall Tim, who's been waiting patiently. Welcome into the fifth quarter, Tall Tim. Been a while since I heard from you.
Well, those games, weird hours and stuff, and I'm a man about town, so yeah, I wish. Although I did go to a blues jam the other night. I played bass and sang a few songs, so that was kind of fun.
Nice.
I was just thinking, I'm having a hard time, transitioning into we're actually trying to go for it and be in the playoffs, and obviously we're going to be in a spot if we get in, play either Oklahoma or San Antonio, but it would still be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
in the playoffs,
absolutely.
Playing, maybe we can get one. I'm having a hard time with that. But then I started thinking about, Kamara, great night. I mean, that guy, you kind of just, he's had a little rough 3-point shooting, few games. You're like, okay, cool. This guy can do it, right? We know he can do it. Because he plays so hard on the other side that to me, anything you get on the offensive side is kind of a bonus because he just does so much work. But, okay, let's go back and look at how this team's come together. We got Kamara for basically Nurk because we just let Ayton go. That's still a win, right? For sure.
I mean, yeah, it's still a win, and heck, letting Ayton go is what freed up enough money to get Damian Lillard back. So it's all a win right there.
Yeah, so there's a win there, and then we got Denny for Malcolm Brogdon, and we got a pick or some in the future, but that's a win, right? And then look at Chris Murray, a late draft pick. He's kind of taken a while to round around, but he does something every game. It helps win, the team win. You got Klingon and Sharp. I think very good, smart draft picks because we didn't really have a lot of draft lottery luck in those years, right? We kind of either stayed where we were and dropped down a couple. And they still made smart picks, and those guys have been, extremely important to the game. It's a bummer that Sharp's out. Have you heard anything? Is he going to come back, or they just decided we need to heal that guy up?
I mean, it was the timeline put him basically out for the regular season. I mean, you might end up hearing some update maybe in the first week of April there, but the second or the last game of the season is April 12th, and so there might be a chance that he's available for the play-in or whatnot, but that's just kind of all up in the air.
And then Scoot is obviously still a little bit of a question mark just because of just the maybe too high expectations early and then just all the injuries he's had. But it seems like he still does stuff that helps the team win. It's just, he still needs to nail down the turnovers and maybe worrying too much about being like a scoring point guard that he gets a little too more,
Well, I feel you, but tonight, Tim, I thought it was great because he had only 13 points, but he had a season high in plus-minus, plus 28, and he only had a single point in the first half, but was a team-high plus-minus, which, again, plus-minus is not the end-all, be-all indicator of how a player played, but it is an indication that he was playing very, very good minutes despite not filling up the box score. So I love what he did tonight.
Yeah, I think he's really cut fouls down and, really been able to, if the guy beats him, he doesn't try to make a dumb foul. His turnovers are still a thing, but all the great players have the most turnovers, right? You go look at the numbers. All the best players that have the ball in their hands, they lead the league in turnovers pretty much. So you can't knock him on that. It's just that he hasn't had enough run this year. That it's still, like I said, it's still a question mark, but he's not a negative. Let's put it that way. He's not a
absolutely
imagination a failure.
No, and you look this up in NBA history. The leaders for most turnovers in a career, it is a who's who of players in the NBA. The leader for most turnovers in the NBA in their career, LeBron James, 5,621, followed by Russell Westbrook, MVP, Karl Malone, James Harden, John Stockton, Kobe Bryant, Jason Kidd, Moses Malone, Kevin Durant, Isaiah Thomas round out your top 10 most turnovers.
Yeah, so I mean that's the thing is like if no guts, no glory. I was watching the Dallas game against Golden State, and Dallas had a lead, and then Golden State came back and ended up going into overtime. But the kid for Dallas, it's just again, he's not as good as Wemby by any stretch of imagination, but he's very good. But he got to the end of the game, and he pretty much had a wide open shot in the lane, and he passed the ball. So it's like you have to learn how to be the man in the NBA, right? It's not, it doesn't happen. You have to go get, and because it's a man's league, right? It's the best
absolutely
basketball in the world, no matter what anybody says. So I think the Blazers have shown that they've, and we haven't even talked about, hanging on the Grant, getting Drew Holiday to give the team when they're. How many times have those guys rescued the team in a game this year?
More than a lot of people like to admit.
Yeah, so I mean, I think this could be fun. I mean, I don't think we're going to win anything, and it could be the point where they're thinking, okay, great draft this year, but where's the guy going to go? We've already got, are we going to sign Caleb Love? They got to put him on the roster, I think.
Yeah, no, they do. They have a lot of questions, Tim. They definitely have a lot of questions. And thanks for the call as always. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Like your point, real quick about you might not win anything, but it is so refreshing to be sitting here hosting a fifth quarter, knowing that tonight with the win and everything else that happened, they've locked in a play-in spot. And now you're just playing for, are you going to basically get ninth or eighth and have the ability to just play the one game against Phoenix and maybe get through. If you get to the 8th seed and you play Phoenix, then you're looking at a 7-2 matchup with San Antonio. If you lose to Phoenix or you go and get the 9-10 seed and get through and you get the 8th seed, that means you're playing the Oklahoma City Thunder. I would rather play the Spurs, even though they got Victor Wembanyama. I just feel like you could maybe steal one. Maybe it's a 5-game series, and you're getting beat probably either one. I mean, the odds are way against you. But the fact that you'd have a playoff game inside Moda Center for the first time in years just feels good. Most of my favorite memories covering this team are playoff games. So the chance to get that back is huge. And I've also argued multiple times that with this team, the playoff experience, absolutely massively valuable. Talk all the time, you just need playoff experience. Those teams too young, they don't have playoff experience. Well, then if they get through a series this year, say they end up matching up with San Antonio and they get bounced in 4 games, well, then you go into the offseason, you're going to have a healthy Dame next year. You decide what you're going to do with some of your movable pieces, and then you go into next year with Dame and whatever additions you had in the offseason and a team that had playoff experience. That's massive. Absolutely massive. Speaking of the playoffs, where will things be when the dust settles? Were there any games that impacted the standings tonight? Let's find out. It's time for an NBA scoreboard report. All right, taking a look around the NBA. Every score final. Golden State and Mavericks were in overtime, but that one just wrapped up, so let's talk about it. First off, in Detroit, the Pistons grab a 113-110 victory over the Lakers. Luka Doncic had 32, 7, and 6 in the loss. And the Lakers are in an interesting spot, too. They got a 2-game lead over Denver and Minnesota right behind them with, 9 games left? Can they hold on, keep that 3 seed? Because they could fall honestly, they could fall to 6th even. They're not locked in, so everyone in the top end definitely has to stay ready the rest of the way. So plenty of intrigue there. In Orlando, the Pacers grab a 128-126 victory over the Magic. Pascal Siakam had 37 points and 6 rebounds. Paolo Banchero had 39 and 6 for Orlando. In Philadelphia, the Thunder grab a 123-103 victory over the 76ers. Chet Holmgren with 17 points, 19 rebounds, and 5 blocks. In Miami, Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs grab a 136-111 victory. Victor Wembanyama did have 26 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 blocks. I mean, basically, he's just 15 rebounds and 5 blocks. Donovan Clingan had 15 rebounds and 7 blocks. All Victor Wembanyama is a Donovan Clingan that can score. That's really all he is, he said in jest. In Atlanta, the Grizzlies fall to the Hawks 146-107. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 26 points and 6 assists for the Hawks. The Bulls grab a 132-124 victory over the Rockets. It's a bit of a surprising win. Josh Giddey had 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 13 assists. Şengün had 33 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists for Houston. In Utah, the Raptors grab a 143-127 victory. Scotty Barnes had 27 and 10. In L.A., the Bucks fall to the Clippers. They couldn't get it done. Couldn't help the Blazers out tonight. It was 96-129 in favor of the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard, 28 points and 3 steals. And final in overtime, the Warriors grab a 137-131 victory over the Dallas Mavericks. However, do not jump on social media and type in Moses Moody. I'm doing you a favor. Unfortunately, he had an absolute freak injury, goes up for a lay-in and falls to the ground, and replays appear to show that he probably dislocated his kneecap, and that is not good. That is not a good injury at all. Non-contact, no one by him, just an absolute freak injury. So don't go type in Moses Moody. You don't need to see it. You heard it here. We'll see what the update is, but that's a big blow to the Warriors as they're already dealing with some injuries. Obviously, they got rid of Kuminga. He was never factoring into the lineup anyway, but then Curry's not there, so they've been kind of falling a little bit. It was a big win for them as they try to keep pace. But when you look now at the standings, you have Golden State at 23.5 back, Portland at 22 back, and the Clippers at 21.5 back. Now, still a possibility you could get up to 7. Not probable, though. The Blazers would have to win 6 more games than Phoenix the rest of the way. I just do not see that happening. This NBA Scoreboard Report is brought to you by McCord's Vancouver Toyota, where they live by the slogan, "We make it easy." Check out their inventory now at VancouverToyota.com. We're going to take a break here on the 5th quarter. When we come back, we're going to hear from head coach Tiago Splitter. Also, we're going to be joined by the boss man, Chad Dewing, and we're going to hand out a game ball. All here on your home, the Blazers, Rip City Radio, 620. Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you. Sean asked a good question. He said, at this stage of the season, do the Blazers have a better chance against the Clippers or the Suns? And I get what he's saying. I get what he's laying down there. And I think the answer is the Clippers. I think it's I think it's the Suns. The Suns. The Suns, Brendan. And your mic's on because I think I can hear myself coming through. But no, there you go. It's the Suns, because with the Suns you have Devin Booker, which obviously can score like crazy. But with the Clippers, the way Kawhi matches up with everyone just becomes tough. So yeah, I think you would have a chance to grab a victory over the Suns if you got a matchup with them. We shall see. Now, instead of going to coach, we'll hold off on that for a second because the boss man's here. Chad Dewey's got the mic on. He's hyped. It was a interesting game tonight, but still, the Blazers had 24 turnovers and still won by 35 points. There was ugly basketball tonight, but a win is a win.
It was one of the most dreadful games I've seen in a long time. That first half drug on forever. How many free throws were taken in the first
42
half?
42 combined in the first half.
No one should be subjected to that type of basketball. You know, I thought the Trailblazers really did not play a good first half. I didn't like their energy to start the game. I didn't like their defense. I thought they weren't connected. And, you know, they really struggled for the first, for the large part of the first quarter. And then they finally started to get things going thanks to energy from Donovan Clingan and the shooting from Toumani Camara. But then in that second half, they started the third quarter the right way with an 11-1 run. So I appreciated the energy there. Scoot had a good third quarter. And then Toumani just went white hot, and they opened up the fourth on that 9-0 run to put the game away. So not perfect, but I will give them the benefit of the doubt. It's difficult to go back-to-back road home, playing in Denver, coming back to play another game. So it's hard to refocus and reset with a short period of time like that. But the Nets are so bad that, like you mentioned, the Blazers far from perfect tonight, and they still completely dominated the basketball game. Now, on the bright side, Donovan Clingan was awesome with the 15 rebounds, the 7 blocked shots. Toumani Camara was sensational, and I think I counted it up now in his last 5 games, including tonight. He's like 31 for his last 47 from the field, so he's starting to catch fire, which is good. And then I thought Denny Avdia, he showed tonight. He was very physical. Like, he looks like he's close to being back to 100%. So those are some good things. Chris Murray was strong again. But the Blazers, here's why I keep talking about this, Burkhardt. I'm far less concerned about where they finish 8th or 9th in the play-in race and just more concerned about their play. Because if they play like they did tonight in the play-in against a team like the Clippers or the Suns, they're going to have a hard time getting a win.
They're not getting over either of those teams if they turn the ball over 24 times.
Exactly. So I care more about how they're playing, meaning they've still got time, 3 weeks left in the season, but they've got to tighten some things up. Now, the advantage for them, the majority of their remaining games are very winnable. They've got 2 games against the Clippers, 1 here, 1 there in L.A., which is critical, and 2 road games against the Spurs and the Nuggets, which are going to be tough. And we'll see who San Antonio is playing at that stage of the season. But the Blazers have to focus on what they're doing more so than what everyone else is doing, meaning the Warriors and Clippers. Just they've got to tighten some things up. And tonight, the 24 turnovers, the turnovers continue to be an issue, but they've got to clean up their mess in that department.
Yeah, they do. And another thing I like tonight, obviously Toumani's getting all the accolades. I don't know if you saw this stat, but the first Blazer player with 20-plus points on 100% shooting in a half in the last 20 years since Rudy Fernandez.
Oh, Rudy Fernandez.
Rudy Fernandez. They're the only 2 players who have done it in the last 20 seasons.
And Toumani at the end of the third, 32 points, which was a career high on 8 for 8 shooting.
Pretty good.
That is pretty dialed in right there. So
then he ended up taking one from about the logo, which was a straight heat check.
Oh, that was great. And he practices those shots a lot before games. But what I appreciate about that for Toumani, and the reason why I like to see him have success, is that nobody works harder on the team than he does. He leads the league by far in miles traveled on defense. He's always picking up the opponent's best offensive player. And he's one of the 5 NBA Ironman in the league. He's one of 5 guys to have started and played in every single game. I respect that a great deal. So for a guy that works his tail off and does all the dirty work and has to bring the physicality, to come out and have a night like this where he can showcase what he can do and the improvements in his game. I was really happy for him because I love Tamani and the way he fights.
Yeah, absolutely. And a guy that I like, because I find him easy to root for, is Scoot Henderson. I want to get your take on him tonight because he had 1 point in the first half, and there's going to be a lot of people who look at them and be like, oh, what a terrible game from Scoot. He needs to do more. But he had a team high in plus-minus, meaning he was impacting the game in those minutes, and then he ends the night with a season-high 28 in the plus-minus category. So finding ways to do a lot of little things, even if they're not showing up.
I agree with that 100%. I'm glad you brought it up. Good players find way to impact games even when they're not scoring or making shots. Scoot did that tonight. I really like he's almost being borderline too aggressive on defense, picking up and getting in early foul trouble. But I appreciate the way he's competing on that end. And we saw it. There were a couple of skip passes. He's finding teammates open because of how good of a passer he is, finding guys like Tease or Tamani in a position to rise up and shoot and putting the ball in the money. He's creating those opportunities for those guys because he is alert and ready to dish the ball and put it on the money. So I thought he was great. And that third quarter he put together, he really helped kind of lead the charge in that third when he had 12 points and was bringing the energy on both ends.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, getting out of the Blazer talk just for a second, I know we joke about it because our close friend Preston Highfield was texting you and I the other day about, are you ready to walk back your J.J. Redick talk because the Lakers had won 9 in a row and things are looking good. You know what's interesting right now? Lakers lost tonight, and things are so tight in the top end of the Eastern Conference where the Lakers right now are in third place, 11 games back, but they only have a 2.5 game edge over Houston, who's in sixth. Yeah. So 3, 4, 5, and 6 is far from decided as well.
It really is. I think the top 2 seeds are decided. It's going to be Oklahoma City and San Antonio. But after that, it's wide open because you've got Lakers, you've got the Rockets, and you've got the Minnesota Timberwolves. And who's the other team?
Denver.
And Denver.
Yep. And
all 4 of those teams, tough matchups in the postseason. So it's going to be interesting to watch it unfold. Now, did Chicago hold on and get the win there against Houston tonight?
They did get the win.
Oh, my goodness. So, yeah, Houston was down, then they came back, and then Chicago was able to get enough to get the win. I've watched a few Houston games over the last couple of weeks. I saw them blow out Atlanta on, I think that was Friday, and then they had the last-second win over the Heat. They're a little bit off right now.
Yes.
So I'm not really sure what's going on, but offensively they're struggling a bit. Denver's offense is dynamite, but their defense is lackluster. And Minnesota's had a couple of key guys out in Ant and Naz Reid. But all of those teams in a 7-game series, a serious problem because if you got Houston, they rebound well and they defend. Denver, obviously, you got to deal with Jokic and that offense and the way they can get up and down. Plus, you got to go to Denver. And with the Lakers right now, anytime you're facing Luka throughout the course of 7 games, it's going to be tough because he's on a heater right now. I just think the Lakers are the more fraudulent team of that group that you just named, and it's because of their defense. Throughout the course of the season, they've been right around 22 in defensive rating. I just don't know if they're going to be able to get the energy defensively from LeBron and some of the vets to be able to do enough because they're going to end up facing up more than likely with Minnesota or Denver in the first round, and that's not a good matchup for them.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. I don't like any of those matchups.
But look at the last couple of weeks. Oklahoma City is now starting to rise above and take their game to the next level, and I just don't believe anyone in the West can beat them.
Yeah, and the difference between the 3 teams, too, is the top 3 right now is Oklahoma City they're 10-0 in their last 10, winners of 12 in a row, and it's just team ball every single night.
Yep.
And San Antonio, obviously, they have Victor Wembanyama, but I love the roster that they have over there. And then you got the Lakers, who have their deficiencies, but they're 9-1 in their last 10, and it's arguably Luka Doncic's best stretch as a Laker. So it's buoyed by Luka more so than team ball.
It is. And one thing that LeBron's done a good job of during the stretch is accepting a lesser role, being more defensive-minded, being a facilitator, and he's got to do a good job of rebounding as well. They're going to need that from him. And then Austin Reeves has just had a good year. So we'll see what happens. I just know that the Western Conference is going to present us with some compelling matchups in the first round.
Oh, yeah.
And in the Eastern Conference, Detroit, with the injury to Cade Cunningham and with the return of Jason Tatum, all of a sudden it looks wide open for Boston. Cleveland, I thought, was going to be a legitimate threat until the last couple of weeks, and they haven't played their best ball. And the Knickerbockers, I think, going to be a tough out in the postseason. But I can't believe I'm saying this, but maybe Boston now has got a maybe a clearer path than what we had thought before.
Boston's looking good. And the other team that's been surprisingly good lately is Atlanta. 9-1 in their last 10. They found it out.
I like their young. They got some good young players.
Yeah, they got some very.
And who was the guy they got from Minnesota?
Oh, was it?
It's not McDaniels, right?
No,
it's Nikhil Walker-Alexander.
Yeah, they got him, and Landell they got too, didn't they get in the trade? So
they look good.
Yes, and Nikhil's been crazy.
There's
Blazer legend. Blazer legend.
Hawks and Hornets in the East with their young rosters. I kind of like what they have.
Yep, absolutely. So we'll see what happens. All I know is you guys were talking about it on the post-game show for a second. We've talked about it now. It's like,
here's the bottom line. The Blazers just got to handle their biz. They clinched a spot tonight, but now focus on playing better basketball so that when you get to the play-in, you don't fall flat on your face with 24 turnovers.
Absolutely. All right, thank you.
And missed free throws. What the flip, man?
It's missed free throws and turnovers are going to be the death.
At one point I looked up and they were like 20, they were like 20, I think it was like 25 or 36 from the foul line. I'm like, what the flip is going on out there?
Yeah, it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. 70% as a team from the free throw line. I don't know how that happens. All right, thank you, Chad, for joining us. Now go back to tearing down the set so we can get out of here quickly. And while we do that, it's time to head to the Coach's Corner. All right, let's head down to the media room and hear from head coach Tiago Splitter.
Energy. We made a couple of subs. I think that group when we sub just started to feel fire to our offense, to our defense, and we start to play better from there.
Career night for Tumani. What was it like to see him, get it going like that?
Great. Just he's been up and down lately, missing a couple of shots, but tonight he found it. And it was hot. It was good to see. Hopefully, push his confidence up. And he's a great player. Does so many things defensively for us. And just to see him there scoring the basket and being effective on offense and feeling good about himself was great.
Debut tonight for Chris Youngblood. 2 3-pointers. What was your thoughts on the opportunity that he had there?
Yeah, we know who he is. We saw him playing for OKC and the G League too, so solid player. We like him, that's why he's here. Of course, first time he played here with us, but solid. I thought he was smart, reading the game, shooting when he has to shoot, solid on defense.
What did you think about it? So Tumani, he sets his career high. I think he was 9 of 9 at that point, but he still kept shooting, and he did miss a shot. But so as a former player yourself, what do you think about the idea that he's kept on shooting even though he could have ended the night with a career high on a perfect night shooting?
Yeah, you want to keep shooting. You don't know when that's going to end, right? So it's just I love that he has that confidence to keep shooting, to be aggressive. But again, the most spectacular thing is not what he does on offense, is his defense. He always got the best guy in the other team. Always bring energy, always leading his teammates on coaching them, leading them on defense. So that's why you want a guy like that also scoring on offense and playing on both sides extremely well tonight.
Scoot had 1 point in the first half, but was a team high in plus minus. And then end of the game, season high 28 from him. When he's not filling up the box score, but he's still impacting the game, what are you seeing from him?
Again, I was not paying attention on how much he scored, to be honest. It's all about all the decisions that he makes throughout the game. Sometimes you can score less, but make the good decisions and be still effective. Like you said, plus 28. So that's great. I think he brought energy when I subbed him in that first quarter. Him, Matisse, they brought energy. CD, Chris Murray, it changed the game for us.
Getting a run from Hansen tonight, have you seen some of the stuff he's been doing with the G League, kind of learning and paying off with him? Yeah.
He's getting better. He's moving better. He's being more aggressive. He's being stronger with the ball. Tonight, I think he got a couple of good plays, offensively and defensively, solid. So we can see his improvement already.
Do you see an example of that as him being able to distribute out of the high post like he did a couple of times in this one?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we talk about in that timeout, to just hub him at there, the middle, top of the key, and create from that. I think we did a good job with Blake and to kind of like run the offense and get the good angles and find teammates. So they did a good job.
And there you hear from head coach Tiago Splitter, and obviously he thought Scoot had a good game, even though he wasn't, scoring the ball a ton. He wasn't focused on that, which is good. And then I let Casey Holdall's question about, he wanted to keep shooting. Could have ended the night with a career high and perfect shooting. But no, when you're hot, you just keep going because you don't know how long it's going to last. Speaking of that hot shooting, I wonder who's getting the game ball. Brendan, roll that intro.
Murray into the lane, turns and kicks it back to Kamara for three. Yes, sir! A new career high, 32 points for Toumani Kamara. He has made all 9 of his shots, all 8 of his threes. Kamara, jab step. Now he starts his dribble. There's a three. There's a make. 35 as Toumani Kamara, a career high, 9 3-pointers made tonight.
That's right, Toumani Kamara absolutely lighting the net on fire with a career-high 35 points and a career-high 9 made three-pointers. You love to see it, my friends. It's nice when a guy who is making his name on the defensive side of the ball and has been so crucial for this team goes out there and offensively has an absolutely wonderful night. And as the Trailblazers PR team pointed out, Kamara's 9 for 11 three-point shooting performance marks the most made three-pointers by a Trailblazer player since February 26th of 2023. That was Damian Lillard, and it's the best three-point percentage with at least 10 three-point attempts since Anthony Simons in 2021. So some elite shooters that Toumani Kamara put his name with tonight. All right, Blazers. They grab the victory in Game 1 of this 4-game homestand, keep pace with the Clippers, who also got the victory over the Bucks. Again, very, very crucial to grab these wins. This is one of the easier homestands when you look at the standings. Milwaukee on the outside looking in the East. Dallas obviously on the outside. Washington, the second worst team in the East, therefore the second worst team in the Eastern in the NBA right now. So the Blazers need to take advantage, just like they did tonight against the Nets. Again, they had 24 turnovers and you still won this game by 35 points. So that's great. However, you got to clean that up because you got 2 crucial games still on this schedule against the Clippers and against teams like the Clippers and the Nuggets and the Spurs. If you have 24 turnovers, winning is going to be tough. Now, for the Clippers, the rest of the way, looking at their schedule real quick, they have a game against Toronto on Wednesday. That's an interesting one there because Toronto could definitely grab that win. But then they also have Indiana and Milwaukee before they get to Portland. Then they have San Antonio, Sacramento, Dallas, Oklahoma City, Portland again, and then Golden State. So they also have a pretty favorable schedule the rest of the way, which is why these next few games for Portland are absolutely massively important when it comes to the standings. But like Chad said, and we'll keep hammering home, doesn't matter what number you get, doesn't matter what seed you are, as long as you're playing your best basketball going into that play and looking for a chance to win. All right, that's going to do it for the 5th quarter tonight. Once again, the Blazers welcome the Nets to town and grab a 134-99 victory. They will be back in action on Wednesday when they welcome the Milwaukee Bucks to town, which it feels kind of nice to welcome the Bucks to town, and it's not welcoming Damian Lillard to town. That's right, he's on your bench. He ain't playing, but he's still repping Rip City again. That feels nice. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock, which means I'll have Blazers game day for you starting at 5. Once again, final score for Moda Center. The Blazers 134, the Nets 99. Rip City, I will talk to you on the next one.